Have you ever experienced a lot of frustration or anger after ending things with somebody, particularly if they were avoidantly attached? Well, in today's video, we are going to break that down, whether somebody ended things with you or you ended things with them, and where that sort of cognitive dissonance came online. And we're actually going to go through some really cold, hard truths. So if you're ready, make sure that you're prepared to actually dig in, to actually hear what might be behind some of these things in this video, because if you're willing to listen with an open mind, it could change your future of relationships forever in a really good way. And if you close down to some of these things, you might actually miss out. So a lot of people experience, after being in a relationship with an avoidant, some degree of anger, frustration, almost like this rebound anger after things have ended. And one of the biggest reasons this happens, first and foremost, and again, I'm going to share this with you. It doesn't mean when I share these cold, hard truths with you, for example, that there weren't a bunch of things wrong with the other person's behavior, right? I'm definitely not saying that. There could be a lot of issues with the other person's behavior and how they're showing up in unhealthy ways, of course. But what I'm focused on in this channel is how can you make sure that your future is in your control and that you don't repeat these same old patterns. And so this first reason that people often get angry is because they stayed too long. And staying too long looks like you know that it's time to go, but you keep staying. You know things are not changing, but you keep staying. And one of the biggest things we talk so much about on this channel is it's one thing to have feelings for somebody, to develop like a big heart for someone, to love them, to care about them, to know them and know what they've been through and have this empathy, but you cannot weaponize your empathy against yourself. And so when we're trying to see, hey, can we do this work together with somebody? Can this person become securely attached with us? Can we work on the relationship together? The first thing we talk about all the time is that you have to set a deadline. And what I mean by setting a deadline and what this actually looks like is that you have to be able to sit down and have a conversation with somebody, and namely yourself, and say, okay, how long am I going to invest in this? And what do I need to see in terms of change or the needle moving to feel like it's worthwhile to continue staying, so that I don't just open-endedly invest in a relationship where my needs aren't being met forever, right? So if you're dating somebody for a year, maybe you're like, I'm going to work on this for 3 months. I'm really going to put the effort forth and see if this person meets me part way. And if they don't, then you know it's time to walk away. But if you're in a marriage for, 15 years, it's going to be a little bit different of a deadline and type of conversation. It's not going to just be a 3-month period, right? You're going to invest a lot more time, and maybe you work on things for a year or so. Maybe you really put your best foot forward. So first thing, you stay for too long. And really, in doing that, to be perfectly honest, because you didn't set a deadline and vet their behavior and really see and, check in to see if they're making moves and actually making an effort, you betrayed yourself. And that's part of one of the sources of where the anger first comes from. Because when you leave the relationship, when the relationship finally ends because either you left or they broke up with you, you finally are forced to look on yourself instead of focusing so externally on that other person. And sometimes then all of a sudden we've been ignoring our own feelings and needs for so long because we've been fixated on someone else, that you come back to yourself and you're like, oh, ouch. A lot of things weren't going well for me. And because I was so fixated on the other person, I forgot to attune to myself, my feelings, my needs, my boundaries. And now they all come flooding forth at once you've actually processed, okay, this is over. And that's where that rebound anger comes from. Okay, that's number one. Number two, this is probably the most powerful one, okay? And this is one that it is a cold, hard truth. So you got to be ready for this one. The avoidant is your shadow, okay? And what do I mean by is your shadow? Well, if you're not familiar with shadow work, let me just take you through like a 3-step exercise real quick. Step one, I want you to think of in your mind, or even like pause and write this down, the things that the avoidant was doing that triggered you the most, okay? They were dismissing you, they were avoiding you, they weren't present with you, they didn't listen to you, you felt ignored, they were inconsistent, right? Like think of those things and pick like the couple that really stand out. Step two, I want you to ask yourself a really hard question. Where do I do this to myself? Usually we invest in people who actually are the most familiar to us in terms of the way that they treat us mirrors back the way we treat ourselves. And that's called our shadow. That's Carl Jung's shadow work. And we have a lot of, exercises and a big course on this inside PDS that can really dig deep so you can put an end to these patterns once and for all. But I want to let you know here that if you don't fix these patterns of behavior within yourself, then you're going to keep recycling to new people and new relationships that again mirror this back to you. So let's look at step 3 of this exercise. Step 3, how are you going to change those patterns of behavior? So let's just go through a couple examples. Do you not listen to yourself? right? Do you not listen to your own attunement, your own emotions? Do you not listen to your own needs or make yourself a priority? Okay, well, then if somebody doesn't listen to you and they don't make you a priority, it's going to be extra triggering because it's already happening in the background of your life. Same thing with if, they dismiss you. Do you dismiss yourself? Do you abandon yourself? Okay, no wonder that's so triggering when somebody looks like they may be doing that or about to do that. Do you constantly find yourself going through dynamics of feeling like somebody's not present with you? Are you present with yourself? Probably not. So it's a cold, hard truth, but it's actually, if you're willing to hear it and take it in and let that like sort of land with you, then you're going to be able to change it in a remarkable way that will change your future of relationships forever. As long as for step 3, you're like, how am I going to start doing the opposite of these things? How am I going to start being more present with myself? How am I going to start listening to myself? What will that look like? What are my habits or routines? And that could be doing meditation, journaling, personal growth work, or courses. It can be anything that's like you attuning to yourself. It could be as simple as you being like, oh, I'm going to make myself a priority by just checking in with my needs and boundaries on a daily basis and just making sure that those things are prioritized throughout my schedule for the week. If I know that I need exercise because I really love health and that's a big need, I'm going to make time for that. I'm not going to put that on the back burner. Or if I know that I need social time because I love people, okay, I'm going to prioritize that. I'm going to make sure that even if perhaps you're a busy parent or you're in school and working at the same time, you have to make time, like buckets of time for those things. Okay. So if you want more support, I will just say really quick before I get to number 3, you can check out our shadow work course. It goes through like how to meet all those needs, what those needs are, how to fix and solve for these problems, and actually how to rewire these things at a subconscious level, because your subconscious is running the show. It's responsible for 95+% of your behaviors. Unless you learn to recondition that, you're just intellectualizing everything, honestly. You're like, oh, interesting, but then you'll keep repeating behaviors. So I'll put a link fully for free for that course for 14 days. We do this literally twice a year. So it's just for a limited time. It's for Mental Health Month. And you can go in, you can download the course materials, all that stuff, and really get through at least one, more likely in 14 days, you can get through 2 or even 3 courses. So you can go in there, but the shadow work course is what you want to search on your dashboard, and that will help so much with this. Okay, number 3, the boundary violations that hurt the most are the ones that we do to ourselves first. And understanding this is the only way to prevent this cycle from constantly recurring from relationship to relationship in the future. So it's not just the unmet needs, it's the ways that this person violates your boundaries. So if they say, oh, I want to do this, and you say yes, but for you it was actually a no, then you violated your own boundaries. And sometimes people can actively violate your boundaries. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes people can literally, like you said, no, you cannot borrow my stapler at work, and they took it. Or you say, no, you cannot talk to me like that. It's inappropriate. I don't accept that. And they do it anyways. Like those are active boundary violations. But I'm telling you right now, and if you're willing to hear this with an open mind, this will land. The boundary violations that hurt the most are the ones where we knew that it was a no for us, but we said yes anyways. And you want to talk about rebound anger after a relationship? This is it. This is like a pivotal one, right? Of these 3, is that like you're going to look back and be like, they did this, they did this. But if you can be honest with yourself enough to say, these were the things they did do that violated my boundaries, and these are not okay, and these hurt. But here are the times that I also violated my own boundaries. That puts the power back in your hands. That puts the accountability and insight back in your hands. And that is the only way for those boundary violations that tend to hurt the most, that you can stop this cycle and actually practice setting better boundaries going forward in the future. And honestly, a lot of times we don't set boundaries are because we were conditioned not to in childhood. Maybe if you set a boundary or said no to a strict parent, they abandoned you emotionally or put you in timeout. And so you associate, okay, boundaries get me punished. They make me feel unsafe. They get me neglected, abandoned. They make me feel unworthy or not good enough. So I'm not going to set them. And so you have this fear that if I set a boundary as an adult, then people are going to think I'm not good enough or I'm going to get rejected, abandoned. But you are literally doing those things to yourself. You're making yourself not good enough or important enough to say the boundary. You're making yourself rejected because you're literally rejecting your truth. And it's a form of self-silencing. It's painful. It's honestly as bad as like a form of self-attack or self-abuse, because boundaries matter. And if you have somebody constantly violating your boundaries all day, it's not okay. And if on top of that, if we are doing any of that to ourselves, we don't escape ourselves. We have to live with ourselves 24/7. So it has an extra layer of pain. So to be clear, people can violate your boundaries, but for those really, really deep ones, if you're willing to have an honest look, there may be places that you said yes and you betrayed your truth when it was truly a no. And that's another thing that's going to cause a lot of rebound anger after, and things that you really want to heal from. And this can be with anybody in an unhealthy relationship. So pay attention. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, please like, share, subscribe to this channel, and share this with somebody who could really benefit. if you don't want to miss out on that exciting opportunity we do twice a year to dive into PDS fully for free for a full 14 days, download the courses that are relevant to you, all that good stuff, check out the link below. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching.